So I watched a movie called Out Come the Wolves, not to be confused with the And Out Come the Wolves Rancid record that I grew up on and love. So I just recorded this review, but for some reason the battery died and it didn't take something. I don't know what the hell happened. Anyways, let's do this again. So this is about a trio of humans that get together. We have a lady and two men, and one is the buddy of the woman, and then she's dating the other guy. The two guys are not familiar with one another. I don't know if they've met or not. I can't remember if they have, but they don't really know each other very well either way. And this is kind of like their bonding experience. They're going to get to know one another, and the two guys are going to go out hunting together. They're all hunters. But she decides like it'll be good for them to go out together to get to know one another. Now there's a lot of like setup in the beginning of their drama. There's kind of like a little bit of a love triangle drama thing going on, and I actually quite liked that stuff. I thought the performances and everything and the writing there was pretty good, and I was pretty invested in that, and I was ready to watch them go out into the woods and deal with the wolves. So our guys go out and into the woods, and out come the wolves, as the title would suggest. Now, I'm going to knock the film for something that I feel like is kind of unfair to a degree, but it's just true. The film is fairly realistic in the sense of like these types of events aren't all that climactic, right? They're very quick, and that's that. Right, you kind of have your encounter, like when you've ever had an encounter with a animal in the woods. It's not like some movie thing, right? It's kind of like they run at you and you run away, and then you tell people like, "Oh my God, it was terrifying," and your story's kind of very basic. This movie, while it definitely does more than what I just said, that's because the movie's called Out Come the Wolves. You're expecting something like, I don't know, the movie The Grey with Liam Neeson or something, where a lot of the focus of the film is like them being hunted by wolves in the forest, and they're stuck out there and they don't know how to get out, and like every turn there's wolves around the corner, and there's always this looming threat of the wolves. That's not the case here at all. A lot of it is like the relationship drama at the beginning, and then once they finally get out into the woods, which probably doesn't happen until like almost an hour into the film, 45 minutes to an hour into the film, a lot of the wolf stuff in this is pretty short-lived. I think it's good, but I think that for people who are going into this expecting like man versus nature, I think they'll be somewhat disappointed with that, and I think that's where the film lacks for the most part. I don't love how the action pieces are shot, but I think this is a budget constraint, so I can forgive it to a degree. But I've seen a few man versus nature beasts, like the beasts of the wild type of movies this year, and I don't think I've liked any of them that much, but this is the better of the ones that I think I've watched. I just was pretty underwhelmed once we got to the wolves. I was a bit bummed on that, because I think I set up a different film in my head, and when it became what it was, I kind of knocked the film for it. But I do appreciate the attempt of kind of more realism, that it's not so theatrical, that it's not so big, that it is fairly short-lived, and it can be a tad visceral as well with the interactions between the man and the wolf. But if you look at other movies like this that deal with this kind of concept, whether it's like backcountry with the bear stalking the people or whatever, like we have a certain frame of reference that we look to as like our expectations, and I don't know. I think this is kind of hampered by preconceived notions of what this might become. So I think maybe knowing that going into it, that you're not going to get a lot of wolf stuff, and you are going to focus more on characters. Now, whether you like the characters or not remains to be seen. I think they're very realistic. They're not super likable, although I do think the woman is the most likable. But they just feel like real people, and that I liked about the movie. So I think the performances are good. I think that the intentions are good. I think that it's cool that it's more realistic, but it might just be uneventful for something that people might be going into expecting something different. So with those reservations in mind, though, and you definitely could check it out and see if you vibe with this movie more now knowing that. And I'll see you in the comments and we'll talk about it. So let me know if you watch it. All right, adios.